And now, it's the Still Unnamed Podcast with your hosts, Pete and Mark.
Hey kids, and how's it going?
What the fuck?
I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I traded mics for one day and now I'm lost. I don't know.
Hey kids, looks like I got a fucking takeover. This is Mark El Stupido Romantico Rodriguez.
Oh god. Hey kids, this is Pete Salas and welcome to the Still Unnamed Podcast with Pete and Mark. It's good to be back.
Hey.
Happy Taco Tuesday and all that shit.
Happy Taco Tuesday. Did you enjoy your week off, you lazy bastard?
I did, dude. I was very, very excited to be sitting on the other side of this table because it made me feel there was no pressure. Like I didn't feel like I had to entertain. I just had to talk.
I had to entertain. There was so much pressure. I felt my intro was terrible and my outro was terrible. The middle bit was pretty good though.
Thanks.
Where you were talking.
Well, I mean, we got some good feedback on it, and
how was it received?
It was well received. People were like, "Hey, man, I there's some things I didn't know about you." Like, that's not true. I made that up. No, it was.
Stop trying to make yourself more interesting than you are.
No. It was well received. There was nothing specific said. It was just like, "Hey, good episode" type of thing. It was like a generic, random,
Like, oh, I guess I heard it. I guess I got to say you did a pretty good job.
Right.
Real quick, can I say I'm sorry to everyone that we did not mention Selena's anniversary?
Yes, we thought about that when we dropped the episode that morning. It was like, okay, today's all about me. Plop. Nope.
20th anniversary of the death of Selena.
I was like, son of a bitch. Well, I'm sorry. Obviously, we've spoken about Selena in the past on this show. When I had Edna and Elisa on here, Edna, super fan of Selena.
Yeah, she was bawling.
She was. She cried 20 years ago, and she cried 20 years later. And she's been crying ever since.
What a girl.
Well, Selena obviously was a pioneer and a legend in the Tejano music world. I know that this goes out across the country, so not everyone may know the impact of Selena and how important she was, to this region in South Texas. But down here, she was godlike status. Would you say?
Absolutely.
Yeah, especially.
They sometimes leave Whataburgers at her statue.
Do they really?
In Corpus Christi, Texas.
I did not know that.
Yeah, because she really enjoyed the Whataburger. So at her statue, she has a statue in remembrance of her. Is that the right word?
I think so.
And occasionally people will leave probably a number one in her honor.
Okay. They're not even spring for the bacon?
Maybe. I don't know.
I would spring for the bacon. She's a fucking legend, bro.
Okay. Maybe people get her the chicken strips. Okay. I don't know.
No, those are kind of expensive. But definitely Whatasize. We're going to Whatasize it in her honor for the mighty, the beautiful, the talented, the lovely Selena. And may she rest in peace 20 years later. I can't believe it's been 20 years. But
I know.
Anyway.
I remember when I found out. I was in...
By the way, this conversation is a week late.
Oh, yeah.
It's just it seems so like unnecessary.
Well, still, I mean...
But still, I know that no one specifically
she's
mentioned
not going to be less dead. Does that make me sound terrible?
Yeah, that was not good. But anyway, how's it going, man?
It's going all right.
Yeah?
Pretty good.
Anything good happen? You started watching The Jinx.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
It's crazy.
Right?
I'm like 2 episodes in, but I'm like, wow.
I told you that this was like the weirdest thing. Like, it's just so... You couldn't write this. Like, Hollywood couldn't make this up. How weird and convoluted and fucking just bizarre the story is.
Are we gonna go into a bit of spoilers? I mean, it was all over the news, so people know that...
Okay, once again, we're a day late and a buck short because this show premiered 2 months ago or something.
Well, still, I just started it.
Right. Yeah, go ahead. Seen it. Let's talk about it.
Okay, well, the first episode, oh my God. Well, because I work in news, so I knew a bit of the story behind it. Okay. The thing that always got me what is that I didn't know the details of it yet, but he like decapitated and dismembered a body, threw it into the river, and his defense was that it was in self-defense.
Right.
How is that even possible? How do you say, I was defending myself, I cut off all his limbs and his head, and I threw him in the river because I was in fear for my life?
Yeah, I mean, that sounds legit.
I don't think so.
I believe him.
You're full of shit. Look, if you were
better
doing
than saying I understand him, because that's creepy.
That's true.
But I do understand him. Anyway, go on.
But how can you, like, if you were doing it in self-defense, as soon as it's dead, that's it. You defended yourself. You won. Mm-hmm. There's no need to go deeper into dismembering the body.
Well, his point was he didn't want to have to explain what happened. Like, he didn't want the cops involved. He didn't want anything. He knew it was in self-defense, so he just did it. And he chopped up the body and he got rid of the evidence because he didn't want to have to.
You can't hear me, audience, but I'm shaking my head and come on, that is full of poo-poo. Yeah,
that was kind of a weak sauce argument, but hey,
it worked.
You know, hey, it's. I think more so, it was a good. It's a good story, and that's why the documentary was so well made. You know, it was so, what's the word? Like, engrossing. Like, I was totally, like, lost myself for like 3 days straight. I watched it. I just watched all 6 episodes. But more so, it was like a look into the mind of a
sociopath.
He's
a proper sociopath.
Yeah, just he talks to himself and he knows that he's wrong, and just like, dude, I'm not even comparing me to him, but like, I've had those like little moments where you talk to yourself and you're like, you kind of just get your mind right, and you're like, okay, this is gonna be okay, and then you just move on. But this guy like has full on conversations with himself.
That's not,
and that's just really creepy.
Yeah, I sing to myself sometimes.
Well, you know.
I used to sing to myself when I was little. Like,
to put yourself to sleep?
No, that's like so if I was waiting to get picked up after school, I would just, like, under my breath go, and like a kid does, and I'm here just waiting for my mom to pick me up. Look, there's that guy. He's wearing that shirt, and I'm still waiting for my mom. Oh, here she comes. That's not the car.
Oh my God, you would do that?
I would do. You wouldn't do that? You wouldn't just?
I don't think so.
Sing a ditty?
I don't remember singing little ditties to pass the time.
Am I insane?
You just might be.
Maybe.
But no, I mean, that was a really well-made documentary, and
then I'm sorry, the second episode. That's as far as I've gotten to.
Okay.
That cop that was or detective that was supposed to look for his missing wife, he was a shitty detective.
Yeah, he should not have had a badge.
He was either terrible, A, or B, he got paid off.
Right.
It had to be, because I mean, he did almost no work.
Right.
I mean, he kind of just said, well, the wife is missing. There were some troubles in the marriage. I guess she just left.
Right.
And then he's like, case closed.
Yeah, no, he obviously there was something more to that, and I think that's the point of the documentary, that it kind of left it open-ended. I know you've only seen 2 episodes, but
I know the ending.
The further you go in, it's just going to be like, what the fuck? Like, seriously, what the fuck?
It seems like a lot of things worked out in his favor.
And they're still working out in his favor, I assume.
Well,
I mean, he got picked up, right? Or
yeah.
I don't know. Anyway.
A lot of people were saying, like, oh, they only picked him up because of ratings, and that's the only reason why the cops picked him up. And then, of course, the officers were just like, no, we don't give a shit about ratings or anything. Right. He's obviously flight risk.
Right.
So as soon as this came out, we were like, oh, we should get him before he leaves.
I don't know, man. That guy has a horseshoe up his ass, because he gets away with a lot of shit. I wouldn't be surprised if somehow he weaseled his way out of this one.
In the first episode, if you haven't seen it, he steals a hoagie from a supermarket.
Right.
And
he's a millionaire?
He's a millionaire at least, yeah.
Yes.
He has more money than he can spend.
He had like $800 in his pocket, like another $3,000 in the car.
Yeah.
And he decides to steal a sandwich just for the fun of it.
Just for kicks, I guess, but
I don't know. Well, I'm glad we don't have those kind of problems. 'Cause
No.
we're not millionaires.
No.
We legitimately need to steal our sandwiches.
Have you ever stolen anything?
I have.
Statute of limitations.
I've stolen a lot of things, actually.
I stole a button from Walmart.
A button?
Like a pin, like those little pins.
Oh, okay.
Because I had a jean jacket, and that was super cool. I had one of those stars, you know, the ones that were like half black, half white. That got that design, that weird design.
Oh, yes.
Like rock and roll.
Right.
I stole one.
Okay.
I was trying to impress your sister.
Oh my God! So it was recent.
No, it was a long time ago. I haven't stolen anything since. I felt so guilty.
Wow. I used to steal from this place called Globe a lot. It was like a supermarket / department store almost.
Uh-huh.
It was like a mini Walmart.
Yeah.
And I think it was local. It was in South McAllen on 10th Street, South 10th, where my grandparents lived. I used to walk around all the time. If you didn't know,
Like a bum, and then get your ass handed to you.
Right. I used to steal toys from there, and I would open up the packages and I would stick them down the front of my pants. And then I would walk out with what appeared, I would assume, like a giant little kid boner.
Really? You
walking
would
out.
Like, what would you steal? Like, you would get away with it?
Yeah, like wrestlers. Like
Every time?
I would. Yes, I must have stolen 5 wrestlers from Globe Supermarket.
That's amazing.
So I would constantly put these wrestlers down the front of my pants, and it looked like it couldn't have looked natural to have that bulge.
Maybe it was like a pants tent. You were just like a little kid.
Right, exactly.
They're like, oh, he's got weird shaped body parts.
Maybe. I also used to steal a lot from like a secondhand store. They call them ropa usadas down here.
Oh.
Again, little toys and stuff. Like in that one, me and my friend Michael, we used to walk over there, and we both had sunglasses on our heads, like the way I always wear I still wear my sunglasses on top of my head, even when it's not sunny. I don't know. It's like a habit. But we would take like little toys or little Legos or little guns.
Oh yeah.
And just put them up underneath our sunglasses.
Really?
And walk out with them.
That's clever.
Yeah. So if they ever wanted to check our pockets or something, sure, there's nothing in there because they're on my head.
You're a regular criminal mastermind.
I am. They should make an HBO documentary about me.
Pete Salas, pickpocket extraordinaire.
Something like that. But yeah, no, I had a problem. I've stolen. Okay, never mind. I'm not going to tell that story.
Why?
Because it makes me sound bad. Not that. Okay, fine. I've successfully stolen from every single job that I've worked at.
Really?
But not like money or anything. I've taken like a memento from everywhere.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't had too many jobs, but I don't know if like when I would work at Mr. Gaddy's, I would eat pizza all the time, but I mean, who didn't? I was like,
were you allowed to?
No.
No?
But I mean, it was not enforced. Like if they caught you, they would say, "Hey, don't do that." Or occasionally they'll be like, "Okay, well now we have to charge you up in the front." And then you'll be like, "Okay, whatever." So you just bought the buffet, but no, I would just like eat, cuz I used to be the party host. We were called party heroes.
Okay.
And so each event lasted about 2 hours. So for the first hour, well, the event lasted an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So the first hour, it would be, I would make balloon animals, I would do the face painting, I would bring pizzas, drinks, whatever the party needed. The last half hour, we would cut cake, and then I would pass out the cards so they can go play games, the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would say, okay, guys gotta go. And then usually it was no problem. There, I would just say, we got to get ready for the next party. Da, 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 da.
So the leftover pizza.
The leftover pizza I sometimes would eat. But there was that half hour before the party, before the next party, where we would just steal pizza and then go into the room while we were cleaning and just scarf it down. That's my.
So you would steal pizza from little children, is what you're saying?
No, it's a buffet. They would get reimbursed.
Okay.
It's not like they're at Pizza Hut.
Okay, so you would steal pizza that little kids' parents paid for?
Yes.
Okay. You're an asshole.
Yeah. I didn't shove little men down my pants.
Touché. I remember that... I wonder if the statute has already passed.
I don't know.
I mean, technically, it...
Nobody listens to this podcast.
That's true. I did not directly steal, but I facilitated the theft of the school mascot.
What?
Yes, while I worked there.
That's awesome.
And I was brought in. I was under suspicion.
That's like 80s college shenanigans,
right? And that's the thing. It's like, dude, once again,
textbook shenanigans.
I've said this before. I had no business working at a high school when I was like 2.5 years removed from being a high school student. I must have been 21 maybe when I worked there. I was a teacher's assistant, and I still I had friends there that were my friends when I was there in as a student. So the shenanigans never ended just because now I started receiving a paycheck for showing up to high school. Of course not. Which was awesome, by the way.
Well, I mean, shenanigans are going to happen everywhere. I mean, I don't take my job super seriously.
Well, there was a long-standing tradition where the senior class would try and steal the statue of the mascot. His name was Big Mac. And he was a giant bulldog statue that lived in the front of the school, right in front of the principal's office. And, I think only like 3 or 4 people successfully... or 3 or 4 classes in the past successfully took it, and they would just, they'd return it. It was just kind of like a end of year prank type of thing.
Of course.
Well, I remember one day, this one, I'm going to leave names out of it.
Alyssa.
It wasn't her. Actually, fuck it. His name was Rob Ramon. And
he was on blast, Rob Ramon.
He was a good friend of mine. And he showed up one day and he's like, bro, we need to take the mascot. And I'm like, fuck, that's such a good idea. I should have been the voice of reason. I should have been like the grown up, I guess, quote unquote, and been like, Rob, you can't do that.
Don't do that. I mean, it's silly.
This is school property. You're going to get in trouble. What if they don't give you your diploma and stuff like that? But instead I was like, yes, let's do this.
Yeah.
So, it just so happened that they were having some sort of an orientation or something required Big Mac to move from his spot in front of the principal's office to the auditorium stage. Okay? And the only way to get him in and out of that was through the K-Mac hallway. Okay? So it was like we legitimately planned
Ocean's
this
11.
out. Exactly. Like I could... Let's play the Ocean's 11 music right now. Just so I can tell the story. So, this was the plan. He was being moved from the front of the school to the back.
I'm so fucking excited right now.
Through our hallway and onto the stage. So, the idea was, let's not do it then, let's do it afterwards. Because we do it then, obviously, the jig is up. But the thing is they moved him through that hallway, and that's when we saw him move through it, and then they parked him right in the back of the auditorium, and then they wheeled him out for whatever it is that they needed him to do, or during the orientation rather, and he sat there throughout the entire lunch period, and we said, this is when we're gonna do it.
Oh shit.
So they moved him to the auditorium. He was sitting in there. They did their speech, whatever it was, and then they planned to leave him there, I guess, for the rest of the day. So that is when the plan went into action, and they snuck into the back. I was not a part of this at all. All I was doing was lookout, remember?
In theory, another student could have been lookout.
Exactly.
Your power meant nothing.
Exactly. I just wanted to be involved. So they went and they unscrewed him from the base because his paws are like screwed into the base of that little...
He's bolted down.
...wagon thing. So they unscrewed him And then they lifted him and carried him to the back of a truck that was waiting back there.
How heavy is this pooch?
He's hollow and he's like fiberglass, so I'm gonna say 40 pounds, maybe. Nothing too crazy. And all I did was I opened that side door that's typically locked.
Oh.
I opened the side door out into the back parking lot.
Yeah.
And I allowed him to be loaded up into the truck, and I watched him drive away. And then I went back to the class, and I sat there. And then within an hour, within an hour, we had the security guard come to the classroom and asked to talk to all of us.
Yeah.
And they called out Rob, they called out this guy Mike, this other guy Jason, and then they called me to the... It just felt like a time warp. Like I was back in high school because I was getting called to the principal's office. So they went and they showed us footage, and luckily the camera angle only showed the hallway, not the door.
Oh.
Okay, because the door was behind the camera. So all they saw was me standing in the hallway, looking back and forth, pointing, and walking back into the classroom. And that was their big thing. Like, what were you pointing at? What were you doing? And I said, I was just standing there making, in between classes, you're supposed to look and watch. And they're like, well, it wasn't between classes. It was during a class. I forgot what lie I came up with.
You bullshitted.
I bullshitted my way out of it. And I don't know if they believed it or whatever, but,
And was Pooch returned? Of course, right?
Of course Pooch was returned. They weren't planning to steal it or break it or vandalize it. It was just a prank.
Yeah.
So they kept him for over the weekend. This happened on a Friday. And over the weekend, they took pictures of him. I think they drove him to the beach and parked him in the sand. And they took him to parties. They put like party hats on him and beads. And
that's awesome.
And then they returned him Monday morning to the principal's house.
Wow, that's ballsy.
They dropped him off right in front of her door, rang the doorbell, and bolted. So I'm sure like at 6:30 a.m. or whatever, she opened her door, and there's Big Mac staring at her. So that was...
How was the principal? Was she nice? I mean, was she like those crazy kids, or was she like those little assholes?
I'm sure she was like those little assholes, but... nothing came of it. All those guys graduated. Big Mac came back. I mean, those guys were known as like the class pranksters.
Yeah. It was going to happen.
It was going to happen, and I was just happy to be a part of it.
That's cool.
All I did was open a door. That's it.
Damn, I don't have any cool stories like that. I was never invited to things. I'm not cool. I was never cool in high school. I mean, one thing is, I guess they put my name on the wrong person in my yearbook, and I'm on the wrong name, my picture.
You're like Ann Veal, where it says like not pictured.
But I think it's because I pissed off a few of the yearbook people.
Yeah?
Because I was dating a girl. Well, she was my first girlfriend, and we were pretty serious, and then it wasn't working out, and I was like, hey, we're not working out, and we broke up for realsies. Because in high school, you break up like all the time.
Right.
But this time it was for realsies, and they really didn't like me. So maybe they screwed over me and some poor bastard that now is Mark Rodriguez in our senior yearbook.
Who is he? Did you know him?
No.
Whoever had your name?
Well, I mean, he was in my class. It's one of those things where I knew of him, but I mean, I didn't know him.
You never spoke to him?
No, I wasn't very cool. I might have mentioned that once or twice.
Welcome to Intermission.
Harley, let's do a podcast.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Mark Rodriguez. I'm sitting with...
Harley.
Harley what?
Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn. It's nice to see you today.
Yeah.
How are you?
Good.
What do you want to talk about?
I was watching TV.
You were watching TV?
Yeah.
What did you see?
I wanted to see Mickey Mouse.
You wanted to see Mickey Mouse?
Yes.
And what about Mickey? Do you like Mickey Mouse?
Yeah.
Who else do you like?
I like Sheriff Callie.
And who's Sheriff Callie?
A cat.
A cat. That's very interesting. What does she do?
She put some bad guys in jail.
She puts the bad guys in jail.
Yeah.
And what else? Does she have friends?
Yeah.
Who are her friends?
Toby and Peck.
That sounds awesome. Did you do anything today?
Yes.
What'd you do today?
I was so excited to serve toys. Wow, to rest.
Did you go to the toy store today?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. What'd you do at the toy store?
I wanted to pick all the toys that I wanted Mommy to buy.
You wanted Mommy to buy all the toys. What kind of toys did you see?
I wanted to play the dog with friends and thing. And I wanted the snow cone maker. And puppy, I wanted the... What did I wanted too?
You wanted a snow cone maker, right?
Oh, yes, I wanted the snow cone maker.
Yeah, did you get it?
Yes.
Did you make a snow cone?
Yes.
How did it turn out?
Beautiful.
Beautiful. That's fantastic.
Okay, and I brought Mommy here.
You brought Mommy?
Yes.
Do you want Mommy to say hi?
Yeah.
Say hi, Mommy.
Hi.
So, my podcast massage is Mommy.
That was a pretty good podcast, Harley.
Yes.
I think we're over.
Okay.
Okay, I say bye.
Bye. You too, Mommy.
Say bye, Mommy.
Bye.
What was your least favorite job that you've had?
My least favorite job. Oh, I was a telemarketer for 2 weeks.
Oh, I tried to get into that because I needed money.
Yeah, I work for this place called West Telemarketing. It's no longer there. It's over there by the mall. Well, it was over there by the mall in that little plaza where like Circuit City was and Tiger Direct, or I don't even know if that's what it's called.
No, I know what you're
anyway.
talking about. It's like the Western store now or something.
I have no idea.
Okay.
But me and all my friends, like 5 of us, got the job at the same time. We were like, this is going to be awesome. We're all going to work together and stuff. Not awesome. Not awesome at all.
Well, there's all these horror stories of, telemarketing is the worst job ever.
Well, it's so, like, intrusive. And you can tell you're bothering these people. And this was years ago before they, like, reformed that and put, like, no call lists and all that shit together.
Yeah.
But our main thing was, well, at least my little department, if you'll call it that, was we were working for Citibank, and we were calling people who have not yet activated their cards.
Okay.
So our deal was to call and tell them, hey, Mr. Rodriguez, this is Pete calling from Citibank, and I'd just like to remind you that you should have received your card in the mail in the last 2 weeks, and you've yet not activated it. If you'd like, I can help you activate it right now over the phone. You know, that type of thing.
That doesn't sound too bad.
Right.
I mean,
Except
like
when you're
saying-
calling New York. Because that was my location, was I was calling like the Bronx or something. And all those things you hear about rude New Yorkers, true. It's true.
Really?
Yeah. They were brutal. If it wasn't a direct hang up, it was like a fuck off. And, you know.
I'm in the middle of dinner.
Right, exactly. And the funniest one was when I called and I said my whole spiel or whatever, and they were like, wait, who are you calling from? And I said, Citibank. And who do you want to talk to? Mark Rodriguez. He's been dead for 2 years, buddy. And I don't appreciate that. You're bringing up all these old feelings in me and blah, 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 blah. She just went off on me and made me feel like shit. That was the day that I was like, okay, I'm harassing widows. I'm not going to do this anymore. So,
Do you think she was legit?
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Because she could have been an asshole.
She could have been an asshole. She probably was. But just the fact that I was bothering these people, it was like, I don't think so. So, that's probably my worst job.
I worked at Toys R Us during Christmas season.
Ooh.
That was pretty terrible.
I worked at the mall during a Christmas season.
Where'd you work?
At Sears.
Sears?
Yeah, I worked in the baby department. Haven't I told you this? I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't remember. Yeah, I was working in the kids department, and at the time that I was just not that I look friendly now, but I wasn't friendly. I wasn't approachable, I think. And like I was supposed to sell strollers and cribs and shit, and that just wasn't working. It wasn't until Sears got smart and decided to open up a little game, like a video game station. Do you remember that? They used
like
to
a
sell,
little electronics
but it was mostly video games, and they put me in charge of there.
Nice.
And then it became a fun time, but that's exactly when like Christmas rush came in, and I was just selling Nintendo 64s like fucking hotcakes.
Damn.
Do hotcakes sell that quickly, by the way? Where did that,
I don't know.
Where did that, saying come from?
McDonald's probably. They're the ones that sell hotcakes.
McDonald's hotcakes suck though.
They're pretty bad. They're like thin and they're...
And their syrup is gross. I'm gonna go on record.
Really?
Anyway. I don't like...
I don't really... My palate isn't fine enough to tell the difference between syrups. Although I have had pure maple syrup, like not pure maple syrup, but like Canadian 100% maple syrup. I thought it was pretty good. Alyssa didn't care for it.
Some people use honey.
Honey?
Yeah, they prefer honey on their syrups.
You mean on their pancakes?
I'm sorry. Honey on their pancakes. Or like a whipped cream. Yeah, yes. Hey, that was a good sound effect.
I'm the sound machine Mark Rodriguez, but not yet. Oh shit, I should use that one next time.
Okay, write that one down. But yeah, what the fuck was I saying? Oh yeah, Sears during...
And I was talking about Toys R Us.
Right.
Yeah, mine was... It was okay. I had just quit my job at Planet Pizza, which was a Mr. Gaddy's type of location.
So you have a lot of pizza working experience.
There's a lot of pizza background in my life. Like, so much.
Your resume is padded with pizza.
I have
crust.
about 5 to 6 years of pizza experience under my belt.
Wow.
But that's not what we're talking about. I worked at Toys R Us for about 2 months or something. And yeah, it was pretty terrible. I mean, it was all right because I was working at the floor, but I have a nasty habit of being awesome. So I was working on the floor for...
And a shitty habit of being modest.
So I was working on the floor for like 2 weeks. And then after a while, they're like, okay, we're moving you to register. So I started working on the register. And then after about 3 weeks of that, they moved me to the video game department, which was pretty awesome.
Nice.
I remember a conversation I had with someone. They're like, hey, you're working today? And I was like, yeah, they got transferred over to the video game department. They have me like being register over there and selling to people and stuff. And they're like, are you serious? I was like, yeah. They usually ask for about a year of experience before you get transferred over to that department. And I had been there for like a month. And I was like, nice. I was pretty awesome. Towards the end, though, I started to be really shitty because... Well, Black Friday is as terrible as everyone makes it out to be. We had the Elmos, and it was a ruckus.
Oh, you were there during the Tickle Me Elmo?
Not the first wave of the Tickle Me Elmos, but it was like during like the second or third wave.
Okay.
Because Tickle Me Elmo has been around for a while.
Yeah, because that was like 93 or something, right? Something like 94, maybe?
That was like the first wave, but I was there maybe 2007, I want to say.
Okay. But either way, when there's a new Elmo product, it's fucking hot.
There's always a hot cakes item.
Exactly. Thank you.
And that was shitty. And oh man, one time our registers just fucking flaked out on us, and everyone was pissed. And they were pissed at me because I was working register, and they're like, "What's the holdup?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry, the registers are down in, like, it was down in." The nation, like none of the Toys R Us registers were working.
Wow.
And they were like, the line was just getting longer and longer, and they started to get more and more angry because we were there for like maybe 2 hours not doing anything.
Wow.
And
not making any sales.
Not making any sales. And
not even like, cash sales? You couldn't do that?
We couldn't do anything.
What? You couldn't keep a ledger like in the old days?
Nothing, Pete. Nothing.
Don't ever make that face again.
So, they were like, well, where's the nearest Toys R Us? And the nearest Toys R Us is in Corpus. So I would say it's in Corpus, and their stuff is down too.
Right.
And so people would just leave their shit and just flip me off.
Wow.
And it was terrible. But yeah, when I finally left, my family had plans for Christmas break to go to Dallas. And it had been in the works for the longest time, and my mom had been telling me, you need to request that time off. You need to request that time off. And I never, because like I don't like to bother people, so I just never told anyone.
Right.
And then sure enough, it was, we're driving on our way to Dallas, and then I get a call on my cell phone, and they're like, hey, Mark, where are you? You're supposed to come in today. And I said, yeah, apparently my family wanted to go to Dallas today. So I'm halfway to Dallas right now. Can you have someone cover me? And then I was just no longer on the schedule.
You were fired.
I don't know about fired. I'm going to say I was a seasonal employee.
And the season ended. That's cool. Have you ever been fired?
Aside from that one, no.
No?
No.
Okay.
You've been fired?
I have been fired. It was, well, I was, okay.
There's a lot of stipulations.
I was asked to resign from Sears. My boss, who was a really good friend of my grandmother's, she got me that job. Her name was Juanita.
You need to stop walking out with 64s down your pants.
That's a huge bulge. I wasn't doing very well, and I was upsetting people, and I was getting into like confrontations with clients, and not clients, well, like what are
employees, customers,
right? So it just, I mean, I was 16. I was 16, going on 17, or whatever the case was, and it just, I was asked like, and I didn't understand at the time because again, it was my first job.
Yeah.
What the difference is, I knew that my time at Sears was coming to an end. Yeah. But I did not know the difference between getting fired and quitting.
Yeah.
And apparently it's because they didn't want to pay unemployment.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know unemployment existed.
I don't know if you can get unemployment for part-time.
I don't know. Well, whatever the case is, it looks better on their records.
Yeah, that's true.
When someone resigns rather than firing someone.
Yeah, makes sense.
So yeah, I was asked to
because you were being a dick to everyone.
Right, and the only other time I can think of is when I worked for that advertising agency down here.
Oh yeah.
And I was getting into, towards the end of my time there, I was working with this guy named Mark, and he is an advertising guru down here.
He's the guy.
He's the guy for advertising down here, and I'm sure people listening know him, know his voice, and know all the stories you've heard about him, probably true. He can be a real dick and a real asshole. But again, I will always say along with that, in the same breath, I will say he is a genius, and he taught me almost everything I know about advertising. So I feel like I got more out of him in 3 years than I would have in 4 years of college or something like that.
Makes sense.
So
I went to college. I didn't learn anything. Go to college, kids.
But towards the end, I mean, it's hard to get along with him. Not very many people can. I lasted 3 years, which is more than most. Mm-hmm. And towards the end, we were getting into a lot of arguments and a lot of debates on what the final product for the client should be. Because after 3 years, I kind of felt like, okay, I've earned my stripes, I've paid my dues. Now my opinion matters. My opinion counts. But I should have a say-so. In the grand scheme of things, his name's on the fucking door. Mine is not. Yeah. And he made that very clear whenever there was problems. So after almost going blow to blow with each other and, lunging over the desk at him and, him wanting to fight me and almost breaking out into fist fights.
Legitimately?
Yeah. Finally got to the point where he was like, this is not going to work anymore and you need to go. And I was like, okay, so I'm fired. He goes, no. You're not fired. I need you to quit. And he was pulling the same shit on me. Yeah. And by that point, I had learned already. Yeah. There's a difference. Yes. Okay. So I was like, no, you need to fire me. He's like, no, I'm not going to fire you. You just need to leave. And I said, I'm not going to fucking leave. You need to fire me. And he said, give me a day to think about it. Okay. So it was like back to your corners.
Okay.
So the next day I come in and he walks in and he goes, as soon as he walks by me, he goes, come to my office. I said, okay, this is it. So I go to his office and he says, I found you another job. So he's a master.
Yeah.
He's a master at everything, including firings. So he didn't have to pay anything. He didn't have to fire me technically. He had me quit, and the very next day I started at Entravision.
He came out on top.
Right.
He wanted you gone, and he didn't want to have to pay, and he did it.
He made a phone call to another guy we've talked about on here named Larry, and Larry was in charge of 4 radio stations and 3 TV stations, and he said, I got a guy for you. He's awesome. He needs to be there. And Larry said, bring him on. So technically, I guess I've never really been fired.
Lucky bastard.
Yeah. Well,
How did you get started on this this gig that you're into now?
because I was working, as I just said, at the TV/radio station. And while I was there, the company I work for now, still to this day, does all of their spots out of that TV station, out of Entravision.
Yeah.
So the guy who hired me, his name's Caesar. I already knew him for a few years because he's been doing his spots there forever.
Yeah.
So I was already doing the radio spots for that company, and the company was growing and growing and growing, and he finally said, "Hey, I need some help. So if you ever think about jumping ship, then let me know so I can put the word in." And I was thinking about it, and I was getting more and more stressed at that radio station because I was doing it all by myself with no help.
You were carrying the load, weren't you?
Right. I didn't have any assistants or anything, so I said,
Even
you know
your
what?
best intern was taken away from you.
For eating a cookie. So I told him, yeah, I think it's time. I talked to Quentin's mom, and she was like, yes, it's definitely time. And so I called him and I said, hey, man, if that job's still open, then I'll take it. So I came on board as the second production manager on, for the dealership that I work
That's awesome.
for now.
So when are we going to kill Caesar?
I don't want his job. I'm perfectly fine being the number 2, the guy right behind the...
You know what? As your number 2, it's pretty good.
Yeah, the number 1 always gets the first, you use them as kind of a shield in a way. So.
Absolutely. You know what Alyssa told me this morning?
What?
Look, whenever we're about to drop a bomb, we start off with, I have a confession to make.
Uh-oh.
And usually it's like, look, you might be upset, but I'm being honest with you.
So you can't be that upset at me.
You can't be that upset.
Right.
She says, I had a dream last night, and I was head over heels in love with someone. And I was making out with them, and I was just absolutely in love with this person. I was like,
God,
who is it? She said, Sal Volcano from Impractical Jokers. I was like, are you serious? And she's like, I don't know what happened.
Right.
But like, we were at a show or something, and she was there with her mom, and then Sal was there, and she went up and she was like, oh, it's Sal. And then she ran up and she gave him a hug, and he gave her a hug, and then they started chit-chatting and they hit it off.
Wow.
And it was beautiful, allegedly. And she was in love. Hard love.
Well, does she really like him in real life?
I mean,
aside from thinking he's hilarious.
Well, actually, she told me, while we were talking about it, she said, I always thought I was a Q girl.
Okay.
Because he's more of her style, and Sal's kind of...
he's kind of prissy.
Yeah.
And, he's funny, but he's kind of feminine and could be gay.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Shut up.
Thank you for coming to that realization.
No.
Maybe she has a type.
Anyways, so she's telling me about this dream, and then how he had to go to leave the city. He had another tour to do. And he's like, hey, I'm sorry, I have to go. And she's like, okay. And then they make their separate ways, and they're walking away. She's walking back to her mom, to your mom's car, and then Sal turns around and he's like, hey, Alyssa, come back. And then she turns around, and then they start running towards each other, and they share a sweet
my
embrace.
God. Like The Notebook?
Like The Notebook, and they start making out with tongues. I said, with tongues?
Ew.
And she's like, yeah, with tongues.
Gross.
And then she was like, yeah, and it was very romantic. And then we finished, and then he left.
We finished?
Well, like, they finished making out. Well, they stopped, should I say.
Do you really think that's where the dream ended?
I think so.
Or is she just giving you the shortened version?
The shortened version. She gave him a little HJ. I don't know. He's probably got a weird pee-pee. I don't know. Can we not talk about that?
Okay.
Fact of the matter is, she confessed to me
that she was in love with another man.
She was in love with another man. I said, you know what? Don't worry about it. And she's like, well, I got back into the car, and then my mom and I were driving, and then I said, where's
my
Mark?
mom was there?
Yeah, your mom.
My mom watched them make out.
Yeah, every time I said your mom, I'd say your mom.
No. But I know she was there at the show initially where they met.
I don't know.
But she was there watching them make out in the rain.
Well, she was in the vehicle.
That is disgusting.
You know what rain means? Well, allegedly, rain means in your dream a lot of passion or a lot of feelings.
Wow.
Yeah. Water, any type of water, not necessarily rain.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Why, do you have a water dream? Not a wet dream.
I have a wet dream. No.
I've only had one of those. Well, that's a different
I have
discussion.
a reoccurring dream where I frequently either my teeth fall out or I pull out my own teeth.
Does it hurt?
No.
Okay.
No, it doesn't hurt. It's just they're always loose or something, and then I can just wiggle them out and just start pulling them out one by one.
That means you are concerned with your image.
See, I'm going to let you finish because I've already looked this up, and there's like at least 4 or 5 different meanings to it.
Well,
I don't know which one to believe.
I've also had dreams where like my teeth are falling out, and at the moment I'm freaking out because I'm like, oh my god, my teeth are falling out. I'm an adult. I'm not an old person where it's okay that I don't have teeth.
Right.
But
okay, so you're saying my image is.
I think because I feel like that's my problem is like I'm concerned what people look how they perceive me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I interpret my dream when my teeth fall. Also, my mom told me, I don't know if this is definitely probably like one of those old wives' tales. If your teeth fall out and if it hurts when they fall out, someone you know is going to pass away.
See, there's another one. I mean, you're saying it's image. You're saying it means death. The ones that I've read, there's some sexual tension involved. The other one is there's an issue that needs to come to surface. Like basically there's something under the surface that's bothering you that needs to come out.
I don't think it's sexual tension.
I don't know. Like,
well, because look, the teeth, the surface one makes sense. The image one makes sense. Like everything is like, you know what? You probably want to bang your boss. It's ridiculous how many things are like, you know what? This probably means you want to bang somebody.
Right.
I think it's no.
I don't know. There's too many interpretations of dreams, but anyway, I think that's a conversation for another day.
I think so too.
So, so this was perfectly random today.
I think it was a good episode.
We went all over the place.
Firing from the hip.
Right, exactly. So, we're getting back to basics. We're getting our groove back, I guess. This is episode, 29?
Correct.
Wow, 29.
29 weeks.
That's crazy.
3 weeks.
And I was thinking about. You know what I was thinking about is we meaning I screwed up because our Thanksgiving episode or one of them, I didn't label it. I didn't number it. Okay. So technically, this is like 30.
Well,
but in reality, that was kind of a special. But our Christmas special I numbered. Our Thanksgiving special I did not. So I think that was like episode. It was like right after episode 10, maybe. So we're just gonna count that as 10.5, just to keep it
canon.
Keep it canon, exactly.
That makes sense.
But yeah, it's been.
Well, it was a mini episode. It was like what, 15 minutes?
I forgot how long that was. Anyway, this was fun. We're back to normal.
Did you see my note?
I did. I asked Mark to make some notes for today, and that is what he wrote. Suck a fuck was what he wrote. So.
Yes, I did.
So on that note, I want to thank everybody for joining me. joining us, and for listening. Thanks for joining us for episode 29. We're back to normal, and let's get those numbers up on iTunes. Let's like and share and subscribe those numbers. If you're more accustomed to watching us on YouTube, hey, thanks for watching us. If you do have access to iTunes, why don't you go ahead and subscribe anyway? You don't have to listen to it through iTunes, but it'd be cool if we got some of those numbers higher and higher. That's the goal.
Higher and higher,
baby.
All you have to do is, if you don't want to go through all the links, isn't there you go to tsupodcast.com, there should be a link that says subscribe on iTunes.
Right. You click that and it'll reroute your browser over to apple.com/iTunes, whatever the hell it is. And just click subscribe, and I would be we would both appreciate that very much. So
I don't care if you. No, I do. I genuinely care. Please listen. This is the only outlet I have. I work and I go to school, and I'm a father. I need to vent or rent.
And that's what it's for. That's why we do this.
Pizza stories.
Thank you guys for listening. Special thanks to our sponsor, Chico's Bail Bonds. And once again, have yourself a very, 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 very happy Taco Tuesday.
This is Marcus Stupido Romantico.
Bye-bye.